but you will not be missed. Because we all know that you cannot sit still and you cannot really retire. So we already know that we are looking forward to working with you in your new capacity as a collaborating member of the NFCYM. And to continue this journey that we have started in working and serving the young church. So Colette, God bless you for who you are, for all that you've done, and for all that you mean to so many people.
Thank you, Matthew. If you could pass on to Bob our appreciation. Thank you. At this time, I would like to introduce Kati and Kent Schwierjohn. We have some special presentations to Colette, and they will be beginning. They are both former council members from the Executive Council days, correct? From DIMAC. Okay, they were from the DIMAC days. For those of you who do not know, Executive Council became the Diocesan Youth Ministry Advisory Council, shortly known as DIMAC. And they still have this board today, but that's what it's known as today if you hear that again. So, Kati and Kent.
Before we get started with our presentation, we just would like for all of Colette's family to stand. We welcome you as special guests and we appreciate you being here. Colette has been a part of our lives for more than 10 years now. Back in 2002 to 2003, Kent and I served on DIMAC, as Susan said, and instantly became close friends with Colette. She has continued to be a huge part of our lives. Within just 2 years ago, she sang at our wedding. She has always been there for us, encouraging us and somehow making each of us feel special in her own way. I'll never forget the DIMAC Christmas party, where you picked out a personal gift for each and every one of us. It was something that happened to us or something about us that year. I also will never forget how you always made my grandpa smile, especially in those last few weeks of his life. To see that joy in his face meant so much to our family. But many of you can attest to this. Colette just really knows how to make each and every one of us feel special in her own way, and that's why we're here. Colette, you made a difference in each and every one of our lives. I know that our lives would not be the same if it wasn't for you. I feel honored that I was able to be on the tech with you. I learned so much more about your faith life, and I admire that so much. You gave your whole heart and dedication to serving Christ, and you have made a difference.
Leave a place more beautiful than you found it. I think we all know who says that. It's at the end of every email, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 a day, but it is at the end of every email. Without DYC, CYO dances, which, by the way, Nick, where were you when I was growing up? Really could have used a hand.
Yeah, you have it now.
And many other youth events. Thanks to Todd, we now know that she was obviously the best dressed at all of them. Those present and many, many more may have drifted in other directions. Because of your hard work and dedication to the adults and the youth of the Belleville Diocese, we have been changed. My fondest memory of Colette was, I think it was back in '03 when Pope John Paul II came to Toronto. Father Carl, as you know, Father Sherry, you seem to know that she always had the insight on where the Pope was going to be. Well, we trusted our leader on this, and we asked Colette, where should we stay? So, for those of you who don't know, you make a pilgrimage to the spot where the Pope is going to present Mass the next day, or to have Mass the next day. So Colette seemed to think that the Pope was going to be running through the back, driving through the back, obviously. But, so we set up right along the fence. Couldn't figure out why no one else was there. That night, it rained a couple of inches. We found out the reason no one was there is because that's where everything drained. So we all woke up in the middle of the night, soaking wet, with everyone else laughing at us. Leave a place more beautiful than when you found it. This pretty much sums up everything Colette Kennett is about. Your time, your effort, your kindness and faith continues to touch others through those you've touched. I am reminded of footprints in the sand and how it seems to have added another set of footprints in all of our lives. That is why today we present you a collection of letters of reflection and encouragement, as well as a list of addresses for those whom you have left footprints in their lives. We are forever grateful to you, for you, and wish you the best in everything you do. So if you don't mind, would you please come up here? We have something.
Just saying, I should have passed on some of the introductions to other people so I could stay seated for a minute. That's okay. Our next presentation is being done by Ella and Emily York, two sisters who have been very involved. In fact, the whole family, the Yorks, have been fabulously involved with youth ministry for many years. We've been so fortunate. So Ella and Emily have been on our committee to help plan the event, and they would like to present our next item.
I'm Emily York, and I've known Colette now for over 10 years, and I've been privileged to know her through CYO Executive Council. I was the last on the last Executive Council and the first DIMAC, so I was in a great transition period, and it was wonderful to go through that experience with Colette. I've also been involved on the DYC Steering Committee. I've gone to NCYC, NCCYM, and most recently, I've had the pleasure of doing the first junior high rally for this diocese with Colette. So I'll let Ella go up.
I am Ella York, and I also served on DIMAC with Colette, and as well as gone to NCYC and a number of other things with her. As Emily said, we began our journey with Colette over 10 years ago, as so many of you here today did, by being ministered to by Colette as youth of the Belleville Diocese. As time has progressed and we've become young adults, Colette has been a constant mentor and friend. She has continued to share with us her passion for youth ministry and is now teaching us, as she has so many of you, how to be youth ministers. It's because Colette has given so much over the past 31 years that we are all gathered here today. We are gathered here to say thank you and to give back to you, if but in a small way.
This next award or presentation we have to do involves traveling. So we'd like to share one of my personally favorite stories that happened while traveling with Colette. We were privileged to go to Toronto for World Youth Day, and it was Ella and I and two other people from our parish, and we did not have an adult leader. So Colette took us under her wing, and one night she decided that we should go out on the town, just the four of us and her. And you know Colette, I mean, we talk to everybody. So, in English and Spanish. We came upon this one older lady, and she was Italian, and Colette started talking to her. And at that time I had an awesome tan because I had been lifeguarding that summer. And the lady happened to know that and noticed that. And by the end, it seems that Colette had me married off to her grandson. Okay, because you have such a love for God's people and a love to experience other cultures and countries, everyone gathered here today, and so many that couldn't make it, contributed a gift to you. This gift is for you to take time for yourself as you begin the next step in your journey, and to spend some time traveling. To assist you, we have a little something to help you get through Homeland Security. And more importantly, this gift of $2,400 for you to go to Tuscany or wherever. I would actually like to update that. That was made on Friday, and after today, we're up to $2,563. And Colette, the real check's in here.
While we're on the topic of traveling, we just wanted to see, we know many people came many distances today, so if you traveled more than an hour to get here, could you please stand up?
Thank you, Emily and Ella, for doing that. I appreciate it. For those of you who don't know me, I should have introduced myself in the beginning, and I apologize. My name is Susan Knapp. I was formerly Susan Schmidt in my council days back in the 90s. And I was a former executive council member with Colette for 3 years, from 1996 to 1999 when I was in high school. I graduated from high school, and it seems like Colette has been at every important milestone in my life. She's been there. When I left college to go and do a year of service with AmeriCorps on the West Coast, she was one of the last people I saw before I went to the airport. When my husband and I decided that we were going to get married, she was one of the first people who knew of the engagement. When I had each of my 3 kids, she came to the hospital and was there within the first day or 2 of their lives. And she has always been an important part of our family. Something that I would like to share, everyone has been doing such beautiful reflections on her philosophy of life and leaving a place more beautiful than when you came. And that is so true, I see it so clearly. But something also that I have seen is how you have people in your lives who see you as someone from work. You have friends who only see you when you're hanging out with them. You have others who, like family members, who see you at family events, but they don't see you in the professional setting so much. It changes from time to time, and that's perfectly fine. Colette is one of those rare individuals who does not minister to you simply as a professional or a youth in the field or as a colleague. She ministers to you as an entire person. She gets to know your spouse, she gets to know your parents, she gets to know your siblings and your kids, and then she comes to those family functions and she becomes part of your family, which is so much more than just a youth minister, and is one of the big reasons, I think, why she has become so very special to all of us, because she makes that a point and she remembers. She asks and then she remembers that your brother had a birthday last week, or that you were planning on taking a trip, and she remembers to ask about those things. One of my favorite memories is actually when I was in labor with my first child. They were inducing me, and I thought, you know, I know it's going to be tough. I'm going to try and do natural. We'll be fine. And I thought, I've got some time before the contractions really hit. We'll be fine. So my mother came and my sisters came, and they were in the hospital room with me, and my husband's there. And Colette came by, stopped by after she got off work, and she was hanging out there with us, and we were all playing cards while she visited with my mom, and they were talking to me. And I still remember that at one point during the contractions, it got really rough, and they kept looking at me. And I'd say, stop looking at me, stop talking to me, talk to each other. And she would turn to my mom, so, how's the weather? It was one of my favorite memories because it was just, her head would snap and, okay, let's talk about something else, don't look at her. And I mean, obviously that visit did not extend very long because of the contractions, but it's one of my favorites. So I have also spent some time with Colette. I worked for her as her administrative assistant for 3 or 4 years earlier in this decade, before my family started growing much larger. And so I have also gotten to see her in the professional light as well as the personal one. And Colette, I find you remarkable in every facet. So it has been a privilege. I would at this time like to share with you, with Colette, the other item which all of us here have been involved in, and so many more who could not make it today have also contributed to. If I may, I would like to read the official letter that will be sent out Monday morning. And it is to Bob McCarty, Robert McCarty, the Executive Director of the Catholic Youth Foundation, as well as of the National Federation for Catholic Youth Ministry. It says, Dear Mr. McCarty, it has been our great privilege to have had the opportunity to work with Ms. Colette A. Kennett, Diocesan Director of Youth Ministry for the Diocese of Belleville, Illinois. The impact she has made on the lives of youth and youth ministers in our diocese over the past 31 years of service has been truly immeasurable. It is in honor of her impending retirement from the Diocese of Belleville on October 1st, 2010, that we would like to form the Colette A. Kennett Youth Ministry Scholarship Fund under the auspices of the Catholic Youth Foundation. We propose that this fund be used to help sponsor both high school youth and youth ministers from the Belleville Diocese to attend youth ministry conferences, work camps, and retreats. Examples of such would include, but are not limited to, National Catholic Youth Conference, the Belleville Diocesan Youth Conference, World Youth Day, Young Neighbors, Catholic Heart Work Camps, Teens Encounter Christ Retreats, Quest Retreats, and the National Catholic Youth Conference, National Catholic Conference for Youth Ministers, and many more. We would like Colette A. Kennett herself to have direct input as to who the scholarships are awarded to and for what, to be used until the monies within the fund have all been dispersed. Thank you very much for your time and for allowing us the opportunity to honor Ms. Kennett in this way. She is an extraordinary woman who has been and continues to be a light of Christ to countless people. We feel strongly that her life's ministry should be honored and continue in this manner. Sincerely, Susan Knapp and the Colette Kennett Retirement Party Committee. And Colette, the final amount that has been updated, we do have the check here, but it has been updated. The check is for $2,200, and that was as of Friday. Today, it's $2,200.79. So, sorry, $2,279. It is our hope that this should be an ongoing thing, and the Catholic Youth Foundation does have a website where anyone can make online donations. So for as long as there is money within the fund, she shall be able to grant scholarships to high school youth and adults within our diocese and still be very involved. So thank you, Colette. At this time, we would like to begin with our commissioning reflection. This is the end of the formal program and going into the prayer service. And I'd like to introduce Kathy Shubert, who for many years was the North Central Deanery moderator when we were CYO, and has been a lifelong friend of Colette's and has been part of the committee to help with this event together.
Before I go into any reflection, I just want to tell everybody how great it is to see all the familiar faces up here, the young ones and the old ones. And it's been kind of a reunion for me as well, because I've been hanging around doing CYO stuff for over 21 years. I've now retired, as Colette is going to be doing, but it has been wonderful. And the journey with Colette has been phenomenal. We've had great adventures together. We've gotten lost together. We've lost an entire road together. We have actually built that bridge